meeting. It is 5 p.m. If you could please all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, this evening we have Mr. Corneffel, Mr. Bringard, Mr. Bletcher. Mr. Kelsey is not able to be with us this evening. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda? And just right now, I'd add 2 action items. This would be number 2, would be to accept the resignation of Commissioner Kelsey. And then I'd like to add a 3rd one, which would be a recommendation to fill the position of the vacated position from Mr. Kelsey. So those 2 additional action items I'd like to add.
Chair, I'd propose a friendly amendment to the 3rd action item. It is moved to have the vacancy, assuming that we do accept the resignation and make a recommendation to the Township Board, that we post the vacancy position and accept applications for a period in conformity with the Township rules, and then proceed from there.
We can add that. We can make that part of the action item, and then we can surely discuss it under the action items.
Thank you, sir.
Is there
I
support?
move we approve the additions as presented.
All right, seconded by Bringard. Questions or comments? If not, all in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. We don't have any presentations tonight, Chief?
None.
Approval of the meeting minutes for July of 2024. They are part of the commissioners' packets. If they're acceptable, I just need a motion.
So moved.
Moved by
Second.
Bletcher, supported by Bringard. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carried. Expenses, Chief.
As I've said over and over again, all the expenses, all the fire department are channeled through the operations millages approved by the voters. The fire department obtains 0 money from general funds, does not go to the taxpayers for any tax increases. We work within those millages sanctioned by the voters of Grosio. Everything is in line again.
Move we accept.
Both July and August. Chief, are we good with both July and August?
July and August, yes, we did not have a meeting for July, so we're in line for both months.
All right. There's motion by Bringard. Is there support for the expense accounts for July and August?
Support.
Support by Bletcher. Questions, comments? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carried. Our first action item is to formally move our fire commission meetings from 6 p.m. till 5 p.m. It just seems to be conducive for all of our schedules. So we need a motion to do that moving forward with our calendar.
So move.
Moved by Bringard. Is there support? Support by Corneffel. Questions, comments? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carried. Item number 2, obviously, tonight Dallas Kelsey is not with us. Dallas, you think about people that serve and provide their time and effort and their knowledge and ability for Grosse Ile. Dallas has been a stalwart. Not only was he a township supervisor, he's sat on this commission for 8 years. His insight and his historical knowledge is something that we all have appreciated. And even when I was supervisor, he would take the time and effort to give me his thoughts on ideas and thoughts on Grosse Ile and what occurred when he was supervisor. He's been a good mentor for a lot of different people. So I think his health makes it difficult for him to get to some of these meetings. And what he indicated to myself as well as the supervisor is that he thought there's others there that were better to be able to handle the challenge of coming to these meetings and participating. So he thought it best to resign. So I know that I will miss Dallas at these meetings. There's no doubt you'll still see him in Township Hall. He'll still come in on Tuesdays to visit with Margie and others and give his 3 points on the purpose. And then sometimes he will also give his opinion that you might not like, but then at the end of the day, you'll agree with it anyways. So, it's something that to be said public service is something that Dallas has done his entire tenure on Grosse Ile. So if anybody else wants to add to that, please do so.
Mr. Chair, I just note sitting here that you had a bit of a smile and a grin as you were reminiscing about Dallas. I have found it very, very difficult over the years not to mention his name. Not everybody knows by Dallas. Every time I've seen him, I have felt the same smile, the same warmth. A very generous man with his time and a very generous individual. Always has a smile and something positive to say. And I found him hard to keep up with. And he's been a heck of a mentor for 2 generations of people on this island. And I share your sentiments when I see the smile and I think about Dallas. It's hard not to get a grin when you hear his name. So reluctantly, I'm going to support the motion, and I wish there was another alternative. But it has been a great ride.
Anybody else?
As a chief, I can appreciate all the commissioners. Dallas is one of them. The commissioners, including Dallas, have always committed their time. They've always committed their effort, their intellect, in supporting the best purposes and resources of the fire department. I thank Dallas tremendously for being part of that group, and for Dallas's effort. The Grosse Ile Fire Department is operating at its best and providing excellent services to the Grosse Ile residents. I thank Dallas, and I thank all the other commissioners that have filled these chairs. So Dallas, thank you again for all your assistance.
Yeah, one of the things, he might have been on the school board as well, historically, so you think about it, I'm not quite sure there are many people that have been on both the school board and the township board, but I will tell you, one of the things, right when I first became supervisor, he was talking to Tim O'Donnell in the assessor's office, and when he saw me, he said, "Hello, Mr. Stupidvisor." and I thought about it. I go, wait a second, Dallas, you were the supervisor as well. He's like, that's different. I was the supervisor. So he's always provided his canny approach to life. So with that in mind, we do need a motion to accept his resignation. And then we do also have something that we're going to sign for him today and pass along to him tomorrow.
Kurt, I think it'd be appropriate for you to make the motion.
All right, make a motion to accept the resignation of Dallas Kelsey from the Fire Commission effective today.
Second.
Second by Jerry. Questions or comments? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say motion carried. All right, moving on to number 3, and in light of Carl's modifications to that, obviously now we have a vacancy. There is a process and procedure that the township uses where you can post it and indicate that there's a vacancy. We do have one applicant that had placed his name into the system a few years back, and that was our former chief, Duncan Murdoch. And he has shown interest. He has had the opportunity of talking with the supervisor as well, indicating that he would like to serve as the next fire commissioner. I'm not aware of the supervisor's position on that. He's not contacted me. But obviously Duncan would be a tremendous attribute to this commission because of his long tenure on the fire department and his capacity of chief. But at the same time, if there's others that are out there, obviously I'm more than happy to have the township board entertain those applications as well. But I think Duncan would be a perfect fit to move the commission forward.
Mr. Chair, if I may just briefly add to that, this is not a reflection, my position is not a reflection on the bona fides of Mr. Murdoch. I've had the pleasure of knowing Duncan for almost 60 years. I think he is just an outstanding firefighter, been an outstanding chief. He's an outstanding human being, and my move on this, my push on this is to conform with township policy. I don't want to lessen his qualifications. I believe in being very open and letting as many people apply, but they're going to have their work cut out for him because he is just such a great individual and an even greater fire department head, and I'm looking forward to the interview.
Well, I think what we can do, I mean, again, it's the pleasure of the commission, but if the commission wants to recommend Duncan, and per your amendment, and have the township still go through its normal process and procedure, It doesn't hurt that the township board has the recommendation, and then the interview process can proceed in any fashion the board feels fit. So there needs to be some type of action, or it can be tabled. If so, it's up to the three commissioners that are here tonight.
I'm uncomfortable making a motion to select Duncan Murdoch. as-
Recommend them.
To recommend him, yes.
And then, Kurt, do you have any problems with the fact that doesn't mean that township can go through its process and procedure as well? Or you just want to make the recommendation for,
Just make the recommendation.
okay. Is there support?
I can support that.
Support by Jerry. Questions or comments?
I'm going to vote in the negative on it simply because of the policies that the township have, and again, that's not a reflection on Mr. Murdoch.
Understood. Understood.
Thank you, sir.
Yep. All right, so the motion is to recommend to the township board Duncan Murdoch to fill the vacant position on the commission. There's no other questions or comments. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay.
Nay, for the reasons stated.
Motion carried. All right, moving on to discussion items. Chief, under your report.
Thank you. Chief's report. I think it's always paramount to the chief to explain to the commission and the public the outstanding effort that the Groesville firefighters are performing. Thank you. To this date, we've had 479 EMS runs, 82 fire runs. As I stated earlier, this is 14% more over the last 3 years. In the last 16 hours, the Groesville Fire Department has responded to 18 EMS calls and 1 fire call. And I will clearly say, these are not lollipop calls. These are calls for cardiac events, diabetic events, all sorts of medical calls where people are being transported. This is not, I want to make it very clear to the public and the commission. I know the commission knows. I want to make it very clear to the commission, to the public. This is not a fire department that is handling, let's say, minor medical calls. They are responding to complicated cardiac calls, complicated sugar, diabetic, falls with injuries, all sorts of calls. This is a fire department that stands alone on an island, that does not have the, let's say, benefit of calling on mutual aid on these calls. And representative of that is the fact that the fire department has grown from 15 EMT firefighters to 26 in the last year and a half. And I expect to have 3 more fully trained by the end of the year. Those numbers, those number of volunteers are required to handle 900 calls a year. So the fire department is fully trained and fully operational and handling very complicated and sophisticated medical calls. Okay?
Chief, do me a favor. You gave us a number, but so that everybody in the audience understands, can you reiterate the number of how many calls in the last, what do you say, 18 hours?
18 hours.
How many calls? I'm sorry. I missed that.
18 hours, 16 calls. I can tell you between 10:30 last night and 1:30, they had 4 calls. While I was at the fire training with Carl out at the live burn, we had 3 calls while Carl was there. During the day, between 8 and 4 yesterday, we had 3 calls. And then between 7 and noon, they had 4 calls. That's 16 calls in the last 16 hours. We had broken bones, we had cardiac, we had falls with injuries, and we had all sorts of other medical calls. So I cannot commend the firefighter EMT enough sitting in this position. And so I just want to let them know when it comes to the chief's report, There's a lot of work to administrate such an organization. There's a lot of resources being devoted from the staff to keep this type of organization together. You know, this is a non-union organization. And what I mean by that is the fire department doesn't have strict channels of bargaining agreements, grievances, to handle everything from time off, overtime, discipline. It takes a lot of effort for the fire department, the volunteers, to come together and accomplish this goal. Okay, this fire department is an excellent organization. I think, Kurt, you've called me, Carl, the platinum asset of Groseal Township, because it is. And for the price that we're getting and all the intellect and know-how that the volunteers provide, I'll give you an example. We have a firefighter who, many of them, that are technologically based in their private jobs. The individual I'm talking about is an engineer at Ford Motor Company. He works as a volunteer fire department. He, over the last 3 weeks, interfaced with Chief Drouillard out of Brownstown. I put them together. I wanted computerization on the Bravo 1 unit and the two pumpers in the aerial. I wanted some computerization, mapping where the call is coming from the dispatcher, automatically overlaying into some tablets in all these runs and all these apparatus. And the tablet, when the firefighter gets into the aerial or the pumper, the tablet is there, it pings the location of the call, it maps all the hydrants on Groseal, and I think there's 850 of them, and it maps the location of the firefighters responding to the call. Our firefighter worked with Chief Drouillard and incorporated all this know-how, this technological skill to map on tablets in all of our apparatus and Bravo units. That is a service that would have cost the fire department thousands of dollars. And you have the know-how to do this on your fire department. So, you know, I can't commend the firefighters for doing such an excellent job enough in this position. And, you know, you talk about Dallas leaving, and I've talked about other commissioners being in this position. All that comes together in synergy, motivating and creating a culture on the fire department. They know you support them. They know the township board supports them. And they provide a great service. So we'll hit 900 calls, and that's a very large accomplishment. So that's my chief's report. You know, because I can't say enough. You know, and this department has been in service since 1943. We're at 80 years. 80 years. And all the prior firefighters, the chiefs and officers have, let's say, sharpened the fire department to be what it is. So you make the recommendation earlier of Chief Murdoch being on the commission. I mean, he was the chief for 25 years. It's an excellent choice, no doubt, because he understands the depth of the fire department, and of course, you know, he has a great awareness, and so that's the chief's report.
Chief,
Yeah.
you highlighted this cardiac arrest on 31st of August. Do you know how that turned out?
You know, I always have to reflect. I go on a lot of calls. 31st of August. I believe that was brought in on the water. We had a water cardiac arrest where the individual unfortunately had an arrest out on the water and was brought in by the Coast Guard. I believe that's what you're talking about. And unfortunately, it takes time to bring him inshore. And unfortunately, you know, that's a lot of muscle
Yeah.
that deteriorates over time. So I believe you're referring to a cardiac arrest that happened, that was brought in by the Coast Guard.
All right, thank you.
Okay, Chief, millage report.
Millage,
Yeah,
I'm
millage
sorry.
report. Yeah, number 2, millage report.
Millage report, the operating millage was passed overwhelmingly by the Groseal voters. I want to thank the Groseal voters for their steadfast support of the Groseal Fire Department. Millages are what the fire department operates on. Their financial resources only come from millages. We do not ask for any money from the general fund or any other sources from the township. I want to thank the Groseal voters. Their millages, their vote sanctions how the Groseal Fire Department is operating. The voters see the equities of the fire department and how it's organized, and the services provided by the Groseal Fire Department. I can't tell you enough of how many thank you cards I get a week, and we on the fire department always look at every call as an opportunity to, let's say, prove to the Groseal voters that we are worthy of their vote. And I want to thank the voters for passing the millage. So it passed over greater than 70%, and every year it should be our goal at the fire department to get that up to 100%. But I want to thank the Groseal voters. Thank you very much for their steadfast report.
Number 3, live burn training.
Yesterday we had a live burn training out here at the airport. It was intense at moments. The greatest fire occurred at night. The greatest smoke occurred at night. We had firefighters participate in this event from Metro Airport, Huron Township Fire Department, Gibraltar Fire Department, and Rockwood Fire Department. They all came here to participate with the Groseal firefighters in honing their firefighter skills. And I can tell you, I can say that every firefighter that came from outside this township recognized the value of having such a facility in your municipality. They all said a live burn like this could not happen in their municipalities due to the fact that there's a much more higher concentration of homes and dwellings. So our firefighters honed their skills. I was here till 10:45 at night, and it's part of enhancing the training and the experience of our firefighters. We do have another one scheduled for November 2nd. That's a flashover training in which Oakland County Community College, their instructors are coming with a 41-foot trailer, and they pretty much load it with combustibles, and firefighters go in at 5 at a time, and they teach you everything from breathing techniques to notification of flashover, burn patterns, etc. It's pretty intense. You're in that trailer with one side of the trailer basically inside in flames, and you are in there being taught by an instructor on how to notice flashover with the flames going over your head, being prepared for the signs of flashover, noticing the signs of flashover, what to expect. They teach you on how to remain calm. They teach you on hose techniques, and this is all going on while you're in a 41-foot trailer partially on fire. So we've had it here before about 8 years ago. Mind you, the Groseal Fire Department went to the Wayne County Training Committee last Tuesday, and this is all being paid for by funds from the Wayne County Training Council. So fire department went out, used resources to advocate for funding for this training, and this is completely provided for by the Wayne County Training Council. So I know there's a question, what kind of grants do the fire department get? we get funding for operations of the fire department. So that will happen November 2nd. This is not open to the public, again. There's a lot going on, and this is not open to the public due to the serious nature of the training. So,
Item number 4, fire department open house.
fire department open house, yes. This is scheduled for October 20th, 12 to 4. We will have the bouncy house for all the kids. We will have an open house for all of the public to show up, ask any questions, get a tour of the fire department, come and see our equipment. All the firefighters will be there. We want the public to come in and see our grand facility, see how well we keep it, see our equipment, just interact with the firefighters. And, if they have any questions, I'll be there. And we're just there to interact with the public and show them our house. So it's always been a good event. Hopefully the weather will be amendable to this event, and
No, it's
the
a perfect.
public is welcome.
Yeah, it's a perfect way for the public to meet you and meet your equipment.
That's
So-
right. That's right.
All right, anything else, Chief?
Nothing further.
Anybody from the commission have any comments or suggestions, thoughts? If not, we don't have anybody in the public this evening, so a motion to adjourn would be in order.
So moved.
Moved by Bringard, support by
Support.
Fletcher. Questions, comments, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Thanks, have a good night.
Thank you.